I still have you right there. Steve W. says, I hear music and now it's gone.
So, all right, are on a different level. Can you post on that one that we just started a new one? Go back to the main channel and you can get the link. And tell me when you're ready and I'll close this.
Go back to main channel. We will post the link for the new.
It's already on there. Just tell them to go to they'll see it. We just went live again. So
New live stream started.
Yep. New live stream with our phone started. We got one viewer. So Eric, you're gonna have to check with that because I can't see on my phone who the viewers are, and I can't touch my phone without it falling. I'm gonna have to be careful with the table too.
I'm trying to hear the audio right now.
You can't hear the audio on our phone either?
I'm not getting anything from...
No volume.
That's the wrong one. You're on this one. I'm on this one now. You got to go back. Get out of that. That's the wrong one. You're in the wrong...
I'm in the wrong live stream. We got two live streams
we got
happening.
Like 10 live streams probably.
What a mess.
It's a mess. We got one viewer. Hey, we got a thumbs up. For all the technical issues, we got a thumbs up. Kind of hard to believe that I own a tech company, right?
It says we're live.
Yep. We're live twice, actually, but I'm going to kill this one. Page. So, should be, when you go back to the, yep, get out of that. Go right back to the main page. Yep, do home. See if that refreshes it for us.
That's the live one. Live 3 watching.
I think that's it, because it's got all the stuff on the table. And if you look at the on my cell phone, it's
Yeah,
not.
you're right.
It's the wrong one.
I'm just spinning.
We got 2 people on.
All right,
That's
good.
it.
We got audio now.
Oh my goodness! Finally,
All right. Good to go, guys. Sorry about all the delay in getting this going.
we're up to like 90,000 people, and then we had no audio. So hopefully you can hear us. It might be a little shaky because now my cell phone is what we're using for YouTube, because for whatever reason Firefox didn't do what it needed to do. So unfortunately, you're not going to see all the beautiful stuff that we had laid out in front of us. We're going to have to show it like this.
A little at a time. That's
A little
okay.
bit at a time, but you know, what's that? A pound of salt is a penny worth its while. Whatever that. Those are old sayings. I love those old sayings, but I can never remember the damn things.
He's always butchering them.
I am. Don't I? It's like.
All right, so we're here tonight, Matt, because we wanted to kick off the survival series live.
Yes.
And we wanted to talk about bug out bags or survival kits or vehicle or emergency preparedness kits, whatever name terminology you want to put to it.
Yep.
There's kind of different levels, right? When we're talking about something you might carry when you're out in the woods on
Correct.
a hunting trip or a hiking trip,
Yep.
that might be one level. And then when you talk about in the vehicle,
Right. So at home or in your vehicle, it's not really going to be a bug out bag per se. It would
Right.
be like a shelter in mindset. And then the bug out bag, the Bob, would be something like you said. You got while you're out hunting, hiking, camping, stuff like that, maybe. But bug out bag is really natural disaster if something happens. But that term's being used kind of everywhere in that sense of, hey, I'm going to have my Bob with me when I'm hunting, I'm hiking, I'm camping, or walking, whatever, which is fine. I mean, it's just being prepared. It's being prepared for the unknown. It's being prepared for something that you know you're going to encounter and not have to worry about being caught with your pants down.
That's it. Okay, great. So
and your Bob exposed.
yeah, so when we talk about survival, right, we know that there's certain elements that we have to have when we're out in nature
Yes.
in order to be able to survive, right? And
Correct.
so those priorities would be, and these are kind of flexible, right? So we understand
Yeah, they flow
they
with the
kind
situation.
of change,
Yeah.
right? So medical, we know that we need to have medical supplies on us for the unexpected eventualities.
Yep.
But that's probably not going to be a priority until something happens, right?
Right.
But shelter, fire, water, food, those
Yep.
basic needs of survival,
Definitely.
we know that in any given survival situation, we need to have shelter to keep us warm. We need to have fire for either whether it's keeping predators away, staying warm, purifying water,
Exactly.
cooking foods, whatever. We know that we need water because that's a basic element of human life.
Yep.
Right? So we need to have some way of sourcing or
Sustenance.
purifying and keeping ourselves hydrated in that way. Otherwise, we could die, obviously.
Yep.
And then we need shelter, right, for warmth and potentially protection from
Out
the
of the
sun,
elements.
predators, bugs, whatever it is, right?
Right.
So there's, again, the priorities can kind of shift depending on your immediate situation. But if you meet those elements of food, shelter, water, and fire,
Yep.
then you'll probably be covered.
Exactly. And we always have that mindset. You and I both always have that mindset of 2 is 1, 1 is none.
For sure.
Right. Always having that backup, always having another way to get the job done if you need to get it done. And that's actually kind of what we're going to touch on now and talk about is a couple things and some of the things we might touch on more, but at least 2 items to get you through to be able to boil your water, purify your water, to make a fire, to build a shelter, find food, etc., cook your food. So why don't we start with that?
Okay.
Why don't we talk about first our sponsors, and we have to say thank you to Powertac flashlights.
For sure.
Make sure, and Eric's going to drop the link up there in the comments to the flashlight that you could win by being here and active on the live stream, as well as he is going to pick the winner. So while you're on here, you're interacting, you're commenting and stuff. That's going to get you possibly the winning flashlight that he's putting up there. And what other sponsors do we want to talk about?
So we want to talk about Lee Armory, right? We hit Powertac. We want to talk about Lee Armory
Yes.
and their great line of AKs. And specifically, the one that we're most excited about is the Hunter,
Hunter.
right? Because
Yep.
it's New York State compliant. And it is a really neat design, kind of piggybacking on the Saiga idea, the Saiga Hunter type idea. But or the Saiga Sporter, excuse me, not Hunter. One is the Sporter, that's the Saiga. One is the Hunter, right?
Which is the Lee.
Which is the Lee Armory. So kind of piggybacking on that idea, but I like the way that in the Lee products, and we'll post a link to those in the comments as well. I like on the Lee products how they went with traditional wood and things like that, right? You can get that nice red finished wood that looks so cool on those AKs.
Yeah, most definitely. They're really excited about it. And they've actually got another one that they're going to be coming out with. It's more an advanced one. I forget what they called it. But
the Super Hunter.
The Super Hunter, yep. Which is cool. And for those of you who don't know, we, PS&Ed, are actually the East Coast distributor for Lee Armory Hunter AKs.
Yep.
So if you're looking to get one, if you're a distributor and FFL yourself, then we can fill that order for you, as well as if you're an individual that's looking to get a New York compliant or on their banned state mantra, their banned state list of guns. If you're looking to get one of these banned state AKs, then we have what you're looking for.
So if you're in Maryland, New Jersey, Massachusetts, California's West Coast, but New York State, any of those East Coast banned states, we can help you out with those. So it looks like we're having some trouble with comments.
Nobody can post comments. Oh my goodness. This is just getting better. I don't know how to... No, yuck, that's scary. I think... Yeah, I don't know. Hey, Pat, why don't you give Eric your phone so he can see if he can screw with it? Because I don't know what we can do for the comments. He's Pat's an admin, so Pat will hand the phone off to Eric to see if Eric can get in there.
Yeah, we'll get this squared away in just a sec.
All right, so we're a little off track, but let's get back on. So welcome again. This is our first live. As you can see, there's bumps in the road. There always is, especially with technology. We're thinking it would be easier to use the laptop, and for whatever reason, we couldn't get audio. And it's unlike being able to test it in other ways. Really couldn't test the live show. We probably could have just done a fake one or whatever, but we'll get that fixed for the next time we do a live show, which might be a while down the road. And we already said Merry Christmas, all that good stuff. PS&Ed show, Pat and Matt here. We're kicking off our survival series. So just to reiterate, to talk about it again, kicking off our survival series. Survival series, we're going to be talking about fire, shelter, water, medical, and food, which I love. I love food.
Food is good stuff, especially around this time of year, right?
It's nice.
Okay, so let's get into a little bit about shelter, right? We're
Yes.
talking about some of the basic elements of survival, right? So one of the things that I like to have is a poncho, and this poncho is just a cheap plastic one. I won't mention the manufacturer of the poncho, but it's convenient, right? Because you can pack it in a really small little survival kit, and you have it, right? So it'll keep you dry. It might not keep you real warm. What's this guy you got here, Matt?
This is a poncho that I like. These things are really nice because they've got like ripstop in them.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got little sections of string, I guess it would be, inside there to keep it from ripping. Oh, military stuff. This holds up a lot of weight as well as keeps it from ripping apart. If you get a rip in it, it's not going to spread. It's not going to exasperate through the clothing. I've actually used this to sleep in. I've turned this into a hammock. Some 550 cord and put it up above some trees and laid inside of it. So I actually made it into a bed that was off the ground, and then I put this over the top.
Oh,
Make sure you
emergency
have a bunch
blankets. Yeah, I got a bunch of the less expensive. Now you can see Matt's got a nice one there in a little package. I've got some of the less expensive ones, but I've got multiple.
Cover more space than I can.
Right. So as you can see, these three and his one are pretty similar in size, right? So I can pack a lot of thermal blankets into here. Now I got a wife and a couple of kids, so if we need multiple different emergency blankets for people to be able to bundle up, then we got that covered, right?
They got to fend for themselves, man. I tell my family, make sure you bring your coat with you in the winter. Make sure you have gloves and a hat. They're like, but I'm in my car. It's warm in the car. I'm going from the car to the house.
Roll over the weak. That's his motto. He's just... Okay, so if we got our poncho, right, we know we might need to suspend that from a tree. We know we might need to tie that off to something. So we got a little bit of 550 cord here, or maybe we can use these little zip ties here. Zip ties are pretty handy, guys. Pretty underrated piece of equipment for you to have with you in the woods. They're very inexpensive, and you can get a lot of
really well.
Get a lot of different uses out of those guys. So there's a lot of ways to incorporate those.
You can use them as handcuffs too. On when the bear gets too rowdy in the woods, handcuff the bear.
I'm not sure if those are the right ones for the job, but maybe.
Might be tough.
Maybe. So we got some stuff for shelter, right? We got some emergency
Yep.
blankets, we got some ponchos, things like that.
And keep in mind, like we said, we're going to talk about a couple things for each one. And when we talk about shelter, you could use God-made materials, down trees, caves, stones, stuff like that. So don't take that out of the picture. But what we're talking about is if you have something on you when you're in the woods, okay, I've got this on me. I know I can make a shelter out of a lean-to, out of a tent, something like that. Speaking of that, right? Where we talk about tents. Tents are good,
right?
But if you're talking about a bug-out bag, something small that you want quick and easy to lightweight, then a tent's not as conducive. Maybe having it at home or in your vehicle, right? I mean, a vehicle kit's a little different. I mean, this is my vehicle kit. This is my vehicle kit.
Right. So Matt's talking about something that he keeps in his vehicle. Everything that I'm going to show you, it all fits in this little butt pack here, right? And so this little butt pack here is something that I would wear when I was going out into the woods for hunting or to take a hike or whatever like that. So this might work for a day or 2 days. Something like this is going to be a little bit more, conducive to a longer stretch in the woods. You have a lot more space. It's also a lot more weight, right?
Yep.
We always say ounces equal pounds and pounds equal pain.
Definitely. Yeah, so we'll keep this. We keep one of these in each of the vehicles. It's in the back of the vehicle, in the trunk of the vehicle, both my car and my wife's van. And we've got pretty much everything in it. We've got even toilet paper in there in case you don't. Nice toilet paper, a bag, an actual backpack that we can put stuff in to make a bob. So if we're in the vehicle and we know we've got to move and get moving, we can pick stuff out of here and put it into the backpack, and now we've got a bob that we can throw on our back.
So just specific items that we know we might need on our way.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, we could start a fire with Pat's favorite thing.
I mean, listen, if I need to make a fire, right, that's pretty much guaranteed to light something on fire.
The whole forest.
Hey, whatever, I'm alive.
All right.
So we talked a little bit about fire. Now, you want to keep going with that?
Yeah, why don't we do that? So, typical things for fire, right? You're talking about lighters, matches.
Right.
Those make sense. Those are common things that you're going to carry typically. Somebody who smokes, somebody who has candles around the house that they like for holidays and stuff like that. Okay.
Or we could go with the old ferro rod.
It works so good in pre-production. There we go.
Everything works in pre-production, right?
He's going to catch my...
I'm going to catch the whole place on fire.
You
So
got
we
steel
see-
wool over here. He's hitting.
We can start a fire pretty quickly if we need to with
Yep.
something like this, a magnesium rod and something to strike it with that's metal, right?
So we got lighters, like we talked about. If the fluid runs out of the lighter, you can still use it. You still have that spark that you can utilize without having that fuel. That spark's still there, which is what you're looking to get if you have tinder, if you have some really dry materials. You got matches. Now these are strike anywhere matches. The actual striker is right on the tip, so I don't actually need to do anything other than I can just strike it straight on the straight right here on the top of the table. So right. Then you've got windproof ones that are a lot better. They won't burn out as easily. They're waterproof and windproof. Those are nice as well. I like the little candles, the little birthday candles that don't blow out, the trick candles, because you get that lit. Now you got a torch basically that's going to last a while. But we're getting into a bunch of different things. We're just trying to talk about a couple things. Like you had said, the ferro rod.
Yep.
I put this in my backpack when I fly with a little bit of tinder, okay, a little bit of cotton starting materials. Drop that inside in my backpack. TSA's never stopped me, never told me how to throw it out or anything. Why would I want to have that with me on a plane?
Plane could go down.
Plane goes down, right? What does fire help? Fire helps you cook your food, purify your water, gives you peace of mind. There's so many things that fire can help with, right? So this right here could be enough to save my life and maybe everybody else on the plane. So I always have this in my backpack like that anywhere I go. I always have this as the backup, along with the lighters and the matches.
Not a bad idea. So that's 3 different methods we can use.
Yep.
Well, 4 really right there, because we have our road flare, which is a pretty much a sure thing. We have our magnesium fire starters. We have our lighters. We have our matches. There's a lot of different ways you can go about building a fire, and we'll get in the fire show. We'll get into some of the improvised, cool ways you can do it with batteries and things like this. Because there's more out there that we're not
12 or 15 that we touch on alone. That we're going to touch on alone in the fire segment of our survival series.
So we've gotten shelter and we've talked a little bit about fire. Now let's talk about water, because we know that we're going to need some water.
Yep.
Right?
Agua, H2O.
So life straws. Matt has one.
Yep.
I've got one. Life straws are great for filtering a small amount of water for one person, right? But obviously, if we need to, we may need to source water too. So we'll go over some different ways that you can go about sourcing your own water out in the woods, because there's some cool ways you can do that.
Yeah. We'll do that in the water segment that we do, the water series, the water part of the series.
And we'll also talk more about other ways you can purify your water, as far as boiling goes.
Yeah.
Having a little metal cup like this is something good, because maybe you can boil a little bit of water in that if you need to. Or iodine tablets are another good
Old
way.
school iodine tablets. I mean, you still get them. I mean, it's something that you can use, not as used as much anymore. I've seen, I don't have. I'm live!
Again, and it's still going with the count, so that's good.
Yes. So for whatever reason, the app crashed. And since I got it here in my hands, I'm not seeing how we can do.
I don't think you can do that while we're streaming. I think that's a setting you gotta. Man, we're the worst at this.
Hello, anybody there?
Yeah, but the numbers are going down.
Stop getting off. Stay on. Stay on. Okay, we're back. Dang, the app crashed. Technology. I hate it. Now you know why I like it, because I can shoot technology. True that. True that. The heck? All right, so now we're going to talk about what?
Now we got shelter, fire, water. Let's talk a little bit about food. We
Food.
like to eat, right?
Yes.
We gotta eat.
True. So we talk about food. You had mentioned.
When everybody talks about food, the first thing they want to talk about is MREs, right? Because they're long shelf life and they're they're pretty handy as far as being able to pack them and things like that, right?
Yep.
And you can field strip them, and everything in there is pretty well waterproof, so you can actually carry around smaller, little compartmented, pieces of food and things like that. So those are okay, but
They bind you up. They're full of preservatives, additives, salt, stuff like that that can dehydrate you. So having that in your bug out bag is probably not the best idea. But having it in a home, your home prepper kit or your vehicle, that's where we have these. We have a couple of these in the home kit, as well as I think we have a case in the home kit, and we have a couple of them in the car in the vehicle kit. But something you're talking about when you're actually a bug out bag and you're hunting, you're hiking, you're camping, stuff like that.
beef jerky or
jerky.
granola or some trail mix.
Like a Larabar or something like that has, it's made for that. It gives you a lot of energy with not a lot of side effects or that crash, that coming down part.
Right. So we talk about like chocolate bars, Snickers, right? That might
Mhm.
be something that's good for a short burst of energy, right? If we're feeling kind of lethargic, we know we got to get some stuff done. Daylight is fading, right?
Right.
So we suck down a Snickers bar real quick. We're feeling pretty good for that short period of
Exactly.
time. But then, yeah, over time, that's a poor source of fuel, right?
Right.
So you have that crash at the end. So you get something a little bit more nutritious, right? Maybe something like a granola type of bar like these.
Yep.
And then they're shelf stable, which is really nice, and you can store them. They're in this handy vacuum sealed pack, and they're pretty substantial. 2,400 calories in this little brick right here, right? So there's a lot of fuel there as far as calories go. But something you had mentioned is that they're a little bit dry.
Yeah, they are dry.
And so when you're eating those, you know, you're going to need some water to go along with them.
Mhm.
Otherwise, your mouth is going to get dry. You could choke, which
Yeah.
would be a really bad thing if you're already in a survival situation,
Mhm.
right? So, and then there's the beef jerky, which there is some salt content there,
Right.
but it's higher quality protein
Right.
that's going to
Better
give you
product.
some fuel for a more sustained activity level,
Yeah,
right? So,
Definitely.
understanding that some fuel, just like in your life, in the woods or in a survival situation, some fuel is going to be better than other fuel.
So when we talk about bringing something with us,
Right.
that's one form, one way. But then we also want to talk about maybe obtaining something out there in the field,
Okay.
because I mean you can bring this stuff with you and you could eat it. It's only going to be good for maybe one set, one day,
2 days, right?
depending on how much you bring, and then
Sure.
obviously the more weight you bring. So wouldn't it be better to source, just like water? You're not going to bring 5 gallons of water with you. What are you going to bring? You're going to bring something to be able to source the water that's out there, because the water is naturally out there. So that being said, what natural things in the field could we be looking for to be able to find and secure, if you will?
Well, this time of year might not be great for edible plants, right?
Yeah,
Because you're
winter.
going to get it's wintertime. A lot of stuff's going to be covered in snow. So finding
At least
something
here in New
that's
York.
right. So finding something that's edible as far as plants
Yeah.
might be a little bit more
Plants.
challenging.
I never knew
here,
you were a vegetarian. He's a vegan. Wrong guy. I don't want him on my show anymore.
Well, generally leaves and things like this are what my food would eat, but in this particular situation,
That's a good
sometimes
point.
you gotta improvise.
Okay,
Right?
so you talk about the greens and things like that. I mean, if you really wanted to, we talked about that TV show, Fear Factor, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, Fear Factor, eating like grubs and worms. You said you've eaten some of those things.
Oh, I've
before.
eaten worms and bugs and things like that before, and they're not terrible. I mean, if you need to eat it to survive,
Right.
then
I probably would if I
Suck it up.
had to, but you know, I prefer not to. But then again, you condition yourself. If you've never eaten it, when you're really hungry, how easy is it going to be for you to down it and not barf your guts up?
and that's always been my kind of like mindset is like,
Sure, he just likes the taste of it.
I mean, worms are all right. They're a little bit gritty, but whatever.
So we talk about the green, the vegetation and stuff out there.
Yep.
I also want to talk about
Protein, right?
what your game usually ends up eating.
So what do we got here?
So we've got a Henry AR-7 survival rifle,
Cool.
all inside this floating stock.
Yep, the
It's
butt
pretty
stock
sweet.
does float. So if you're in a boat and your boat turns over, guess what? You're good to go.
So you could have that, throw that in your bag. That's actually what I have in my bug out bag.
Yep.
Or you could go medieval. Just take them out this way.
I'm not lugging that thing around.
That's pretty heavy.
No way. But we also have something over here that could help you. Now, the wrist brace is not New York State.
Yes, so if you're in New York State and you're not law enforcement, I would advise you probably not to end up using this wrist brace slingshot. Get one without the wrist brace, just so you don't get a misdemeanor charge, right? But if you have one, don't tell anybody.
Right.
Or cut it,
I won't tell.
or cut it off.
Or cut it off, yeah. Cut it off.
So the advantage to something like that, something like a slingshot, is you can find projectiles pretty readily,
Stones,
right? Because
right.
you can use little stones.
Yeah, with this you've got to bring ammunition. Once you've shot all your ammunition, you're done. You can't resource ammunition typically in the ground. I mean, maybe from MacGyver or something, you might be able to make something, but
Not through my gun, you ain't.
but slingshot, you pick up a stone, right? I mean, you go back to the David and Goliath. Just pick up a slingshot and
Or if you had some steel BBs, right? Some of the little
Yep.
cool steel projectiles, you could use some of those.
Mhm.
And the cool thing about that is you're not going to exert a whole lot of energy
Right.
in the process, right? So you can actually just kind of sit, be a little bit quiet,
Right.
wait for the squirrels to kind of start moving around and see what you can do about
Squirrel.
sourcing some food that way.
tree rats. Love them.
They're tasty, man.
So we are like halfway. Yeah, we're about halfway through our actual show working. So what are we looking at as far as people on? And you got names up, so we can actually pick somebody.
It's all disabled.
You can't see who's on there? Oh, you got to be kidding me.
That's what I tried to tell you.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll have to figure out another way. It looks like we got a few people on there, a handful of people.
Well, if you're on here now, why don't you go ahead and PM the PS and Ed show? Looks like we got 5 or 6 viewers right now. So go ahead and PM the PS and Ed on Facebook.
That's
right. If you have a Facebook, and then this way here we can just pick a winner based on those PMs.
Good idea. See, that's why I
right.
keep
So
around.
we'll just make a quick adjustment. That's okay.
So shoot a private message over to the Facebook page, the PSNet Facebook page, and Eric can get on there and keep a tally of everybody, and then he'll just close his eyes and go, "The winner is."
Or we can pick a number between like 1 and 5. We'll figure out a way to get right.
Actually, let's think of a number and have them.
Try to guess.
Yeah.
Ooh, Eric, write down a number, and then you guys try to guess the number. That might be a fun way to do this.
I'm confused.
So Eric's gonna pick a number between 1 and 10. They're gonna PM
1
numbers
and
and try
10?
to guess, and then this way. Okay, PM Eric a number. If you're watching right now, you're one of our 6 viewers. Go ahead and PM the PS and Ed show or PS and Ed Facebook page a number between 1 and 10, and based on your guesses, Eric. He's already written one down.
He's waiting with bated breath. He's like literally sitting there waiting with bated breath. Oh, look they're already peeing stuff in, sending stuff in.
Boom, do it. Make it happen.
All right, so
food, shelter,
fire, water. What's left?
Medical, right?
Medical, yeah. Wow,
So
we went through a lot quick.
Yeah, so we know when we're out in the woods that we need to be able to provide for our medical care in some way, shape, or form, right? So what I have here is just a small little kit of medical supplies, right? And there's a military type cravat in there, or that you can use as like a pressure dressing or a field dressing.
Yep.
We have a tourniquet in here. We have regular bandages as well as big gauze pads that we can use to pack wounds and things like that.
Definitely.
So there's a lot of good stuff in here, and it's pretty small.
Yeah, you want to have a first aid kit / survival kit.
Yep.
You know, it's just like for years ago, you just have a first aid kit, really a Band-Aid kit, but now you're getting into wanting to make sure you have a tourniquet, want to make sure you have pressure dressing, you want to have make sure you have quick clot, you want to have a sucking wound. You're pushing the table. Stop pushing the table. You'll have something to cover up a sucking wound if you get shot or impaled with some kind of object.
Sure.
I love impaling people. Anyway, it's for my Article 35 class. If you haven't taken it yet, this will be on the table in the class every time because I like it.
So let's talk about some of the little ancillary items that we haven't really talked too much about, right?
Sure.
I like to have at least one headlamp, and as we always say, 2 is 1, 1 is none, right? So I always have a spare. Earlier today when I showed up here, this one was actually turned on.
Ooh,
so
batteries.
So had I not had a backup, I could have gotten myself into some sort of trouble.
Stephanie is close. Stephanie Sullivan.
Okay, we're getting close to picking somebody. So unless somebody picks the number right on, I think Stephanie might be the winner. Yay! Give us a thumbs up on the thing there. Speaking of that, make sure, I know we had some technical difficulties today, but the content, we hope you really like the content and you find it valuable. So please like, share, comment, click that little dingy bell thingy there so that you follow us when we put new videos up. You actually see them because we do Training Tuesday videos. We've got some other videos that we're talking in, that are in the works behind the scenes too, and some other instructors that are probably going to be bringing out some content, maybe Medical Monday or something like that, if we can get O'Neill to pull something together like that, and he can talk about some medical stuff on Monday.
We've also talked about potentially adding a navigation segment to this,
Yes.
and depending on popularity, we may, right?
Yeah.
So if you guys are into it and people want us to talk a little bit about navigation, right? And that's another one of my little...
Orienteering.
Yeah, map reading, right? How to use a compass. That's another one of my little ancillary items that I have here. I have this magnifying glass as part of my map reading compass, and that can be another way to improvise a fire, right?
Yeah. Remember burning those little ants as a kid?
Yep.
Setting them on fire?
So now we have a way to navigate, and potentially we have a way to actually be able to start a fire. So
Definitely.
Very handy.
So the medical side of it, stop the bleeding, splints, shock, and CPR. So, we teach medical classes. So, keep that in mind as well. It looks like Stephanie just won.
Stephanie just won. She just beat out
James.
So good to go. We got our winner.
Winner of the Powertac flashlight E20. Congratulations, Stephanie.
Very, very cool.
All right, so make sure you check out the future ones that are coming out, these will be pre-recorded, so it won't be so much technical difficulties, and we promise next time we do the live show, we'll make sure that we get all this worked out, and we don't have the camera on the table, so when Pat starts putting stuff away, it doesn't shake the screen, and Eric's not down there bumping the table either.
Yeah, sorry about the
touched
shaking.
the table.
Sorry about the shaking table, guys, but I just want to demonstrate to you that all of my little survival items fit right in this kit.
Small little bag.
And I can put it right on the back or on the front.
Mine are in here. And that was me shaking the table that time. But also, don't forget, we will post a link to our new online store where you can buy survival items. So any of the stuff we talked about, if you've been slacking, if you got a New Year's resolution about being able to actually start building a survival kit, a bob, a bug out bag, a shelter in, a box for your house, stuff like that, then you can buy all that stuff from our online store. And we've got what? A nice little 10% discount until tomorrow night when Santa's sleigh hits the ground at 12 a.m. on Christmas Day, and the 10% shuts off. It's already set. So if you want to save some money, 10%, anything on our website, anything, 10% off a gun. I mean, anything you see on the website, it's 10% off. Even the used stuff that we have up there, it's 10% off.
The gift certificates, right?
Yeah, you can't beat that. And we have gift certificates. You don't get 10% off gift certificate.
Oh, okay.
But you can purchase the gift certificates and get gift certificates for $25 up to $1,000 for friends, last minute gift ideas. Go ahead and buy them. Those are up there now. You can do that. Those will be up there for forever because we've had a lot of requests. We have a lot of people purchase gift certificates in the past couple of days. So
give the gift of firearm safety training this holiday season.
Firearm safety. You can use them for firearm safety. You can use them for buying products, guns, ammo, whatever you want.
Also, if they need any advice of what putting in their survival kits.
Yeah, definitely. If you're not sure,
glad to help out.
And honestly, the whole survival series is based on that. That's kind of why we decided to come up with this, to give people ideas, to show people what works, what doesn't work. We've already started filming some of the fire segments and the shelter segment, and some of the stuff that we were doing out there. We're like, we're glad we tested this out. The emergency blankets.
Yeah, those are kind of hit or miss, right? So if you buy an emergency blanket and you have it, even if it's in the package for a long time, right, they can start to degrade. Some of that Mylar that keeps them nice and shiny, or not the Mylar, whatever is their treat the plastic
the
with.
Silver coating to keep the heat in.
Right, whatever they coat it with, it comes off, right? And then you can actually see right through the blanket. So obviously the thermal properties of insulating against heat loss are gone at that point, right? And they're not quite as big as you think, guys. So when you're out there folding them and you realize 84 inches by 54 inches, only 4.5 feet wide by 7 feet long, it might be good to have a couple of those things, right, as we discovered, because a shelter using one or even two is going to be kind of small.
Yeah, and I don't even know what this one, the size of this one is. I just know it's one of the little bit more expensive ones that are out there.
So yeah, understanding if you've never tested out some of the limitations of these things, it's good to do every once in a while, especially in like a controlled sort of setting where you can actually, if something doesn't work, you can kind of just call bullshit on it and go home instead of freezing.
Pat will do that for sure if it comes to it. Yeah, this is like 56 inches by 84, so it's not too bad size wise. One contiguous sheet I prefer better, but then again, size wise, if you got 5 or 6 of them, you got a bunch of different individual people. Depends on what you're going to do with it. If you're going to make it as a shelter, maybe a tarp would be better, right? If you're going to look as a cover, if you're going to wrap up in it, then depending on how many people are out there, etc. I mean, you got to look just like everything. Medical might come at the beginning, you might never need medical in the field, but you still want to be prepared for it, right? Better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. So that mindset. All right, so as we close this out, we picked the Powertac winner. We want to thank our sponsors again, Powertac. Make sure you check them out. We're working on now getting all the products from Powertac to put up on our online store so that people can actually purchase Powertac flashlights directly from us. So that's a plus. As well as we also want to, once again, thank Lee Armory, our firearms AK Hunter sponsor in that realm as well. Make sure you support us if you like the content. Please support us. Like, share, comment, all that good stuff. Click the little bell, the little dingy there on YouTube. And we also have an Instagram page that we're starting to do more common posts on more frequently. Pat, myself, and Eric are putting more stuff up there, as well as O'Neill's involved in that too. So
My final thought would be, guys, like, comment, share, subscribe, but comment is a big one because
If you can, because you couldn't today.
right today the chat was disabled, unfortunately, so our apologies on that. But we really want this to be driven by the viewership, and we really want you guys to get out of this show what you're here to get out of it. So whatever that is, if you can kind of make this more of a two-way conversation, and probably help us to help you.
Definitely.
Or any other interest they want, shoot us an email.
Yeah. Yep. Shoot us emails. We gave you the emails earlier. I don't know if that was in the first or the second or the third video that we recorded today. But sales@psnet.com is Eric. It goes to him. Service@psnet.com goes to Pat. And then info@psnet.com goes to me. Or you can email us all individually, Pat or Eric at psnet.com, and we all get that. So with that, without further ado, I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, as well as you guys. Merry Christmas. Thanks for all that you do for the company. And,
Merry Christmas, team.
Sweet.
Merry Christmas, brother.
You too.
Merry Christmas to all of you guys. Thank you so much for your support and for coming on and sharing this live video with us. We hope that you enjoyed it despite the bumps in the road. And we'll definitely work on continuing to increase the quality of all the content and the live content as well.
Most definitely the live content.
Absolutely.
Ho, ho, ho. Shoot straight, stay safe.